What's good, y'all? Cal Visuals here, and today we are gonna nosedive straight on in to my newest cinematography breakdown of my latest music video, Standing Still with Van Plating. Alright y'all, so first things first, diving into this music video, let's go ahead and look at the setup and what we had going on. So just to kind of introduce you a little bit, so we were shooting at this giant greenery location in Lakeland, Florida. It was a actual greenhouse, and so this was just an entrance area into the backyard, which kind of had the greenhouse we used, as well as then just a bunch of other plants and things. As you can see here, I've got my Aputure 120D set up on the outside. The greenhouse is to our left here, and to the right I've got a bunch of camera gear kind of laying out on top of this tarp to keep it safe from getting too wet and dirty from debris and stuff like that. Next is just showing you another angle. So again, we've got the 120D, we've got it hooked up to power wrapping around all the way over on the other side, which I'll show you here in a bit for the outlets. And then we've again got the 120D with the Godox softbox on top, shining down into the greenhouse. And so again, to kind of explain as we go, we were trying to create a moonlight look. So this is all planned to be set up at night with a very dark, moody look. And again, I'll kind of lead into more of the details as we go on in the video, but this is an overhead look. Again, we're going to be going with some cool light to have a nice, cool moonlight effect. And here, this is going to be kind of another key light, if you will. So this is going to be shooting directly onto our talent, facing them. This is just a newer light, 660 LED. And so this is going to be on full tungsten. Again, we're going for that moonlight look at nighttime coming in. But in regards to the actual space, we are trying to create a warm and ambient feel. Like we're putting a bunch of firefly lights in here. We've got some disco balls, a bunch of other cool stuff. And so we're just trying to create this really unique, warm atmosphere in here that kind of feels like a little fairy tale or Neverland, if you will, that kind of have that full effect. Coming over here more, so they had this pole going across, and well, originally, actually, I was gonna boom up from top with the light as well. However, I just wasn't getting enough clearance and spacing, and so I was hitting a bunch of trees, which I worried about in regards to the actual audio quality when we were actually in the production process. And additionally, I couldn't get enough clearance or reach, and it was too far away from talent, and so I worried about the actual quality without having to boost the gain too much and then getting a bunch of noise and interference and such. So I did a little workaround and actually used some gaffing tape and set this pole up right along this pole. And so back here in the back you can't see, but it's attached and nudged in there with some gaffing tape, and then it's also going underneath this pole. And so there's leverage, holding it from going up over, because this is locked into place on both sides. And so that's how we boomed it. So this is again just kind of showing our setup here before the nighttime hits us. As you can see, we've got a bunch of light coming in. But yeah, we set up a bunch of firefly lights. We twisted them in a bunch of all different ways and kind of just gave it more creativity than just draping them along the top. We added some disco balls. And we had, this ball was actually already here, but we just left this crystal ball because it was super groovy and just fit perfectly. We also added a little bit of beads here, strung them in the back. And then we moved a bunch of these plants around, add things like these little cages, put plants in them. And this stool here for our guitar player to sit. And you don't see it that much in the music video, but we even hid the amp in here and put a bunch of foliage around it as well. And so really went hard with the set design for this music video. Here you can see the outside, the entrance from the greenhouse. This is the talented Ellie Mints Photos. Great BTS shooter, photographer, human being. Anyways, diving back in. So yeah, this is the greenhouse from the outside, and so this is looking in. So again, as you can see, guys, very tight, narrow walkway, small space, not a lot of room to work with. And again, we'll get into that later as we're talking about more of how I shot, directed, and put this video together. This is another angle of our light. So this is the Aputure 120D coming in over top, having that nice moonlight effect. Again, this is just us with power on. You can see obviously it's nice and warm, tungsten. This is a walkthrough, and so right here you're seeing where the power was coming from inside the house. We've got two different power lines coming here, and those are connecting to power strips, which will then be powering our video. So a nice long walkway. Here's our set designer, helped get everything set up and put in place. Again, just kind of showing the full setup and spectrum, everything we've got inside here, what it all looks like. You can see the boom box, the foot pedals, the camera setup, and the Aputure 120D setup right there. Boom. So this is just another photo showing where the power lines are coming from. Awesome. So that's where we're recording sound. Again, showing our light on, the boom pole. This is us taking a little fanning break because obviously it's super hot sauna up in here. The Aputure 120D light, that's giving us our moonlight effect. So right now we're just going through some practice rounds, just running through some music. Here you can see the backlight I had set up. There's the backlight set up in the back, and we actually had these beautiful shimmering kind of draperies here and have it come through that, so it added some more golden glow into the whole entire room, which was just a really cool effect. All right, so that's kind of our lighting setup and whatnot, but let's go ahead and dive into the music video a little bit here. So running through, this is where you can see the actual video in full effect. And so as you can see here, we've got, run it back here. So as you can see here, we've got the beautiful disco ball going off, giving us beautiful light that's kind of constantly moving, giving us just another added touch and effect that enhances the video, makes it more interesting, intriguing, kind of catches the viewer off guard, and it keeps things moving and in motion. So we've got that constant light going over top of them. Again, the firefly lights, we've got foliage set up everywhere. We've got the backlight hidden up in there around the waist and shoulders. And yeah, guys, just looks beautiful. And so the wide shot really gives us a great look into the environment, and then we can get invited to that more personal look. And so as you can see here, again, we're going for that moody, vintage kind of fairyland feel, and so I think this does really well at capturing that. As you can see, we've got all these beautiful orange glows and bokehs in the back, and then we've got just this really realistic, glow. Like we've got, we can see kind of the perspiration there from this hot box of a greenhouse. And so you can see here on the skin tones, we went really, really warm on them. Again, just trying to create that really warm and inviting feeling deep inside there. And again, so we're talking about the cinematography style as we're kind of rolling through this. So, when we got to the location, I was already aware that it was a narrow and small space, but we figured we could move some plants out of the way so I could get more movement. However, as we were doing that, it really just took away from the overall feeling and look of the place, which ruined the whole point of using it. And so we decided to go back, put more material back in there, and then we actually added what feels like even more and more. We really filled this thing with plants. And so what I decided to do instead is to cut this more like a music video. And so we knew that going into it, it was just going to require more takes. So we used about 5 different takes. I think we shot 7 total in order to get one fluid track where we really love the sound throughout. And then we used 5 different versions to cut up this music video. And so there's 5 different takes that make this one single live recording. And so I think that's something else that's really cool about this music video. This artist, Van Plating, Rachel, she's just really, really cool, genuine person, and wanted to create something that felt really honest and realistic and genuine. And she's a very edgy, rock star for real. And so we wanted something that reflected that. And so we didn't want to make it this high high key lighting, glamorous, soft skin look. We wanted it to be raw, organic, and real. And so that's why you can see the sweat glistening off the skin. You know, you can feel the fullness of the room from all the foliage. You can feel the warm, inviting tone of everything kind of going on in here. And I think it just did a really, really beautiful job of kind of creating this mood and atmosphere. And so talking about the shooting style a little bit, we shot this in 60 FPS. Reason I shot it in 60 for this, usually I would shoot in 24, but I was on a shoulder mount and I knew a gimbal wasn't going to work because it was too late at night. The autofocus would be bad and I didn't have a AC, so I had no one to pull focus. So I knew I was stuck with the shoulder rig, and I knew that because we were in a greenhouse, we were in a rocky environment, there's cords everywhere, very little space to walk. I knew my footsteps wouldn't be clean. There, you can see the footsteps. Unclean. I knew they wouldn't be clean. And so I knew that I was going to need multiple takes in order to get this done correctly. And I also knew I needed the 60 FPS in case I wanted to add a little warp stabilizer to kind of smooth it out in post-production. With that in mind, we went ahead, shot the bad boy in 60 for, again, you know, about 7 takes. And got everything we needed. And again, just looking at the video here, I think it did an incredible job. Everyone in the team worked really hard, and I think the biggest key to success with this video really was the lighting and set design. I mean, all the lights creating this beautiful bokeh glow. We've got the amazing backlight there. We've got the disco ball streaming lights constantly across her arms and face. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, you can really see the depth of field. You can see the full space. You can see all the green foliage. Like, you really get a feel for this fairy tale, like, wondrous environment. Like, it's just a beautiful little space, and I just love the organic, raw movement of the camera. I love the overall look and feel of it. But enough of me talking about it. If you haven't seen it already, let's go ahead and check this music video out. I need the views though. My girl needs the views. So enough of that. Go watch the video. We're done. Alright, that's a wrap. That's it. Cut it. We're done. End of the tutorial. If you like this video and you want to see more cinematography breakdowns, drop a comment below. Let your boy know. And be sure to subscribe, y'all. You do not want to miss what's coming next week. Alright, I'll see y'all then. Watch out.